know how many days I've been working on it, time away from it. Thought through what I was doing, how I was doing it, what I was doing wrong. I think I've resolved the exhaust routing issue. I'm going to get on that right now, and hopefully here in a bit I'll have some video of the installed exhaust, and then we'll get finishing up on the rest of the bits and pieces I got to do to get this heater up and running. Back in a bit. Okay, so here is the installed exhaust. I put a bracket on that frame there. Goes into the box. I'll show you the inside in a minute. It's clear the hull all the way up into there. I was able to route it a little bit differently so that it cleared all the electrical. Got it good and tight. Nothing's going to move. And can't really tell from the picture, but plenty of room in the electrical. I tied the electrical. I moved it from where it was routed back in that corner. I've tied it off to the back edge of this piece of aluminum. And then that should be good to go. Inside the box, put that out of the way. Comes in. I wrapped it with some heat protection tape. It's up there. I did have to reroute the fuel hose just a little bit to the front to keep it away from that exhaust. It's not a problem. I will have one small hole I'm going to have to plug. This one here is not going to get used, so I'm just going to put some aluminum tape over that. Still got to put the burner air inlet hose on, and I've got to finish routing the port side vent. I got that installed right there. Goes down, and that'll go down through the tray to the heater. Once that's hooked up and the bulkhead's all back in, all I got to do is route and hook up the electric. I am getting close. Okay, I don't know how well this will show up, but everything's installed. Everything's put back together. Routed. I ended up putting the controller right here. And I've got vent installed there and one back there. So now is the test. I can see I have power. So, time to check this baby out. Okay, as you can see, it's actually in startup mode right now. There's a little bit of air coming out of the vents, but you don't hear the pump. So it'll run for whatever the set amount of time is. I think it's like 30 or 60 seconds with just the fans blowing. Make sure there's no vapors in the system. And here shortly you should hear the pump start up. I don't know if you can hear that, but you can see the fuel going through the line. Pickup speed. Then you'll get ignition, and once it's up to temperature, it'll just set. You'll hear it running. So I'm gonna kind of hear it ramping up. I'm going to stick this out the window. We'll see. Don't really see any smoke coming out. Now these are starting to blow. The vents have got a nice amount of air coming out of them. I have the heat setting turned up quite high, so it's going to get a little loud. Bearing in mind I don't have the engines running, so you're going to hear this more. And I have the lid open. I'll shut the lid here in a second. Okay, the air has started to warm up coming out of the vent. I'll let that get up to temperature, and then I'll put a temp gauge on it. A little bit quieter. Pretty much all you can hear is the air. Coming out. I want to run it for a little bit at high heat just to get some of that new smell burnt out of the tubings and stuff, because it always that first half hour or so of running you'll get that odor. Anyway, I'm going to be back in a minute when it's up to temperature. Now, one thing I am curious to see is if it gets too hot in here. It's pretty warm in here. It's not overly hot. But with the exhaust back there, even though it's wrapped, it's too hot to touch. So we will see. I don't see any leaks. Everything appears to be running good. Let's open. And I'm going to see just how hot the exhaust is. Now, being as that is a new wrap, it is giving off some vapors. Once that's finished cooking, it's kind of like a new furnace. You give off an odor until they've been used for a bit. That's coming in at 380 degrees. However, these are quite warm, they're not too hot to the touch. Everything appears to be working. Good heat coming out of the vent. I'm going to guess it's about 150. It's hot, blowing up on the window. There's a good flow of air coming out of there. Right now I'm quite happy. Exhaust is settling in at around 380 degrees. That's why I'm glad it's behind that bulkhead. I wouldn't want anybody touching it. And that's what we're set at right now. I guess on these ones, if it was flashing, that would be some sort of error code I'd have to look up. That's some hot air coming out of there now. $180 out of the vents, 184. Bottom vent says it's less, it's about 130. One says about 100. Well, help if I keep the dot on. About 190, 180, 190. Exhaust is up to 220. Not really getting a lot of odor, which is good. Now, I'm going to turn this down to minimum. It might take a little while, but that'll go through to this. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you can hear it winding down. Flow of air out of the vents is about the same. I'm going to shut that down. I got to say, overall, I'm quite happy with that. So, now it's time to find a spot to go fishing and try it out. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions about the installation or what I used, go ahead and ask in the comments.